Okay, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. Look at this. They're all here. They were on time. They're super polite. Wonderful people. This is going to be a wonderful session, which is led by and presented by Madab, and that's their Vice President, Chris Harahar. Warm round of applause, please.
Oh, thank you. I feel important.
They must know you, Chris.
Well, thank you, everybody, for attending. We have an awesome panel here today. Shockingly, you'll find that everyone at this event is talking about AI. And so we are going to talk about AI as well in the AI Balancing Act discussion, where we have some of the biggest and smartest, or the biggest ad tech companies and some of the smartest folks from those companies here to talk about not just how AI is positively, changing the industry, the ad industry, but also some of the challenges that I think we have to grapple with as we see adoption of AI solutions increase. And so with that, I'm gonna pass the baton to Dan, and then we'll go that way. And if you could actually state your name, your title, and just state what company you're from and what the company does, that'd be great.
Yes. Mana, best communications firm in the business, by the way.
Thank you.
My name's Dan Slivianovsky. I'm Chief Marketing Officer of DoubleVerify. We help brands succeed by making their advertising better, and we do that by verifying media quality, helping to optimize their campaigns, improving outcomes, which is the whole point of advertising in the first place.
Hey there, I am Casey Jordan. Thanks everyone for coming. I think pretty much everyone who's here works for one of us in some capacity, so you're obligated.
Thank you for your support.
You're obligated to be here, or you will
You can
one
clap
day.
too.
Yeah. I work for Liftoff, and Liftoff is the growth engine for the mobile app economy. And we operate on both sides of that economy. We work with publishers to help them monetize their apps, and then we help marketers reach those mobile app audiences.
Hi, my name is Ken Lagana. I'm the CRO for Media.net. We are an omni-channel SSP. Our unique value proposition is we basically bring search intent to programmatic, which at the end of the day enables clients to over-deliver on KPIs, and we deliver real outcomes, not proxies, and we do a lot of work with my friend to the left here.
Thanks for this transition.
Nice tee up.
Thank
That's
you.
great.
Jess Friedel. I am the head of regional sales at Yahoo DSP, working alongside pretty much everyone here on the stage. And we focus on driving performance for our customers using all of our vast amounts of unique data.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, guys. Clearly, AI is fundamentally reshaping everything in the industry. And there's so many ways that we're seeing value being driven and opportunities being met through AI. And I'm wondering if each one of you might be open to talking about what do you think is one of the areas where you're seeing the most meaningful, positive change for advertisers as a result of AI adoption. And even if you have some concrete examples of that, that'd be great. And so with that, maybe we start with Dan.
Yeah. So I'm going to date myself for a minute. I just finished high school when the internet happened, and for a long period of time I was adjacent to it, interacting with it, and it grew through what looked to be fairly predictable vectors, right? Number one was more ways for human beings to access the internet. So we went from desktop to laptop to mobile to connected. The second was more places to interact, and so it was media proliferation, open web, social, video environments, etc. And then programmatic changed the way that we could target people. The common denominator was always targeting human beings, and I think this next new frontier is unprecedented because bots and agentic things online will suddenly constitute audience, and ads will be able to persuade and compel that audience to take some sort of action and factor it into their decision making on behalf of real users. And we haven't seen that before. Bots were always waste or bad, and now we need to identify them, advertise to them in a machine readable way, and maximize those decision wins, which is like super exciting. It's a really fun time to be in this industry, and we're seeing something we've never seen before.
I also would like to date myself. One of my first roles that I had was trafficking ads for MySpace. So many hours kind of setting up campaigns and what we referred to as targeting at the time. And ultimately that role doesn't exist anymore, probably in the last 2 to 3 years. But the people are still working on ads, but they're kind of freed up to, for strategy work, I would say. And And I think for us at Liftoff, like I have the very, very deep privilege of actually working on a product that is machine learning, and so it is AI and it always has been AI. And so for us, it's not just about how we work and working more efficiently. It's like the thing that we are actually giving to marketers like is AI itself. And it has to be because we process something like 1.4 billion devices every day, and so there's just no other way to do that.
So I'm not going to date myself because you can tell who the old guy is here because I'm not going to date myself. I think there's two ways I think about it. One is internally, we really leverage AI to become more efficient, effective, bring things to market more quickly. So that's sort of the internal benefits of AI. And then externally, that helps our clients in a lot of different ways, right? Reporting is, we're able to optimize reporting much more quickly. They benefit from all these, reams and reams of data that used to take us, that was a little more manual, take us a lot of time to develop a lot of the reports that enable folks to optimize their campaigns and showcase delivery and efficacy and things of that nature. And then also externally, I mean, we launched a product called Bytes, which hopefully some of you have heard of. We launched it about a year ago, and it's a vertical video unit that is driven by AI. We work with our publishing partners, and we have a ton of them on board. And basically what we're doing is we're bringing vertical video to the open web so that publishers can really monetize their social feeds much better. But then we also help them create more engaging content, and this is all done through AI by taking the content that they publish and creating video around it. So those are just a couple of examples.
Yeah, and for us, I totally agree on the time-saving front. Like we're seeing a lot less time spent on digital paperwork, for lack of a better term, and we're able to take more time to think about, let's think about our businesses strategically, whether it's what we're bringing to market and what our customers are doing. But we have a product called Yahoo Blueprint that is right now driving meaningful savings back to our advertisers and helping them to have more working media, which is something we're super proud of, and that's why you see such great performance when you work with the Yahoo DSP.
For sure. No, and I think that's an interesting segue into sort of like I think there's this dynamic or this perception, and I think a lot of people consider that AI is being used for automation, making things more efficient, streamlining processes and workflow, and that's true, of course, but we're starting to see more about how AI is actually meaningfully creating more effective, media buying or campaigns and optimizing them. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, on that perception about automation versus effectiveness and whether or not we're starting to sort of shift towards more of that effectiveness, landscape, if you will.
I spend a lot of time talking to clients and brands, agencies as well. And, I had a senior level exec at a major holding company talk to me a little bit about what they're doing with AI for creative. And it's become one of their most popular products, so much so that some of their clients have told us that they've reduced the amount of creative teams that they have in-house because they're leaning so heavily into this creative application in AI. So I think that's really interesting. And then, look, we're in the early stages of enabling agentic buying, and we're beta testing right now with a number of agencies and clients that we don't have all of the results yet, but we're early days, but that's coming pretty fast and furiously. So
sure.
So part of my team is kind of a team I think that's been pretty affected over the last 2 years, and perhaps creatives kind of begrudgingly are embracing what's happening. So it's a creative strategy team, and they work with mobile app marketers to figure out what are going to be the brand messages that resonate most with this audience. So they write briefs, and they write instructions for production people to actually create ads. And I'm super proud of them because they've really embraced using AI and using these tools as like a co-pilot and not just something to kind of, eradicate the personality from ads. And so I think they're using it to do things like, localization, and, we'll work with one influencer to create an ad, and then we can come up with localized versions of that. And so it does free them up to, We all know AI can write an email, and you guys know exactly when your colleagues are just fully copying and pasting from Claude, and like I tend to have a visceral reaction to that. But my team knows I never want to see a creative
it's the
brief.
hyphens.
You glow up.
Yeah.
The hyphens.
Hello, Claude. Claude, are you my third husband, or like what's going on here? Trying to liven this up, guys. There's an element of like, let me carve out an additional 2 hours today to like think about what's actually going to be good, because Claude is not going to tell me what's good, and Claude doesn't have taste. Like more than likely, Claude is going to tell me what it already knows and what's bland.
Sure.
I think we have to be really deliberate with how we use it, and then think about how we can still have like the people involved in the loop, right? And I think to exactly your point, like, what am I using this for? And is it just to write emails? Is it just to try to time save, or am I thinking about how can I look at data differently and think about insights differently because I have this time and I have this AI feature that can help me do that?
And some of this feels like, sorry, go ahead,
No,
Dan.
go ahead, man.
Yeah, I was just going to say, some of this feels like it's just the way that human beings use things. Like, essentially, you embrace it first for some of the more, superficial aspects of your job, some of the more mundane and onerous aspects, and then you start to think creatively and uniquely about how you could apply to other areas where, you deliver more value, campaign optimization, and so on and so forth. And so I think, a lot of folks are quick to talk about, let's talk about AI effectiveness and, this and that. And I think ultimately, we're getting there. And ultimately, people process and use technology in a certain way, and that's happening. I think the shift is occurring.
And like psychologically, the generation that was, mobile first from childhood they have this expectation that how they work, it's almost going to be I'm telling you 5 things, provide me with the output. And so I think like psychologically, we're all moving towards that, like the how we work of inputs leading to a greater output. And I think that's just like the human behavior change.
Yeah. And I would just say, don't get lazy, don't be lazy, because it's very obvious, as we all know, when something comes through that is just a cut and paste. I mean, it's very, very obvious. And we have clients tell us all the time, it's like the influx of emails and just reach outs that they're getting just from folks in the industry has almost tripled because people have gotten a little bit lazy.
Sure.
Well, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Like, I have to do cold calling today?
That's the
Fantastic.
problem.
Let me throw two thoughts in and then just copy and paste it and send it to 15 people.
It's true.
Yeah.
Change one
I'm
word.
jumping in, Coach. All right. I think that there's a continuum where efficiency at the end of the day has to be stitched to effectiveness. It's just a starting point. For our business, we went down an arc. Verification was a euphemism for media quality, and media quality was the output. All of a sudden, a campaign was good if it had low fraud and high viewability and all of that. And that is a very meager KPI for a campaign. And I think the future, and where we're seeing AI help us, is all of a sudden those data that previously were fragmented and siloed can be put into an optimization. So we can take attention data and fraud and viewability and suitability and context, end path to conversion and what channels worked in that user's journey, and we can put them all into an AI optimization. That is a predictive algorithm that will bid and get better at buying media based on those variables that drive an outcome. That, I think, is one of the most exciting new frontiers of how AI is driving effectiveness. We call it the era of bring your own algorithm, where you can stitch this thing to the DSP or anywhere else in the value chain of your choice, and you can buy smarter. And we've been doing this for the past few years, and the evidence is so compelling in terms of driving down cost, increasing scale and impression delivery and performance. And we're just at the early days, first inning.
Yeah, I think you need unique data as a competitive advantage moving forward with AI, because what is it built on? Like your agents, your models, if it's not true, unique, deterministic data, the insights aren't valuable. So I think that's what we're really proud of. Everything that we're building at Yahoo is based on that. So we feel really confident in everything that we're bringing to market.
Yeah, I think that probably resonates with us as we're talking to marketers, because my experience has been, particularly with brand marketers, there's an element of buying in digital, whether it was desktop a few years ago or mobile app ecosystem now, that like the trust but verify has to be there. And I think the verify part.
Thank you.
The verify part is just
They'll
made
give you
so
that
much
$100
so
later.
much easier now. Can I get a discount on my next invoice?
I'll talk to Alan.
Okay. Yeah, so the verify part just infinitely easier, and also something that you can provide to marketers as like a dossier of evidence. Like you don't have to feel like the channels that you're buying in are a black box anymore.
Also, I do think it's interesting that a lot of the conversation around AI, people talk about AI, but to your point, they don't talk enough about the data that needs to feed the beast. I mean, ultimately, you need AI, you need data as a backbone in order to inform your models or your solutions or whatever the case might be. And I'm thinking about, Ken, Media.net's work in building out this data partnership, I'm thinking about Fetch, obviously, which you guys just announced, but I know you're working on building out other data partnerships, and I wonder, how does that play into the Media.net data story?
It's a good question. So we launched a supply side measurement and attribution initiative about 6 months ago. It's the first of its kind in the marketplace, and to your point, we're getting tons and tons, reams of data, but the only way to get through all that is by leveraging AI to be able to optimize for real outcomes. And closed loop measurement is something that I think we've all been, or have all struggled with over the course of probably our careers. But I think with AI as a mediation layer, it can really help with all of those things. And Fetch is another good example. We have a fantastic relationship that we just launched with Fetch that's going to provide real receipt-based data on purchase intent, and not only purchase intent, but actual purchase data, which will allow us at the end of the day to prove outcomes.
Yeah. Awesome. What do you think is the biggest gap today between what AI can do and what marketers are actually using it for?
I'll take a stab. I think, so it's being incorporated first and foremost to drive efficiencies, which basically means, how can we use this to put in fewer human hours, drive greater output, et cetera. But its real promise is in unifying the whole process, campaign strategy, planning, execution, and really being embedded in everything an organization does. So becoming this layer between marketing and product and engineering and sales, all geared toward a better outcome. And I think it's early days for that. So AI fluency on the demand side, really geared toward driving better outcomes, is something where there is still a curve, and we at least see our customers actively going down that path.
Gotcha.
My fear and my concern is that we try to move maybe a little more quickly than we should, especially on the planning and buying side of the house. Disintermediating too many people too early can really backfire, and I think it could maybe put some things on the back burner and actually reduce innovation if it's not done right. So I think we as an industry, in totality, we have to be careful.
Yeah.
I think we have to be really deliberate with what we're bringing to market, because I don't think we want to ask our clients and partners for a second chance at this and break that trust. So I think it's really important to think and go slowly and iterate upon that to make sure that we're not losing trust anywhere.
Yeah. No, and that is actually, I think, a great segue into agentic and thinking about this new agentic future of media buying, where agents assist everything from planning to optimization. I know Yahoo's doing a lot on the agentic front, and what I found really interesting about the launch, I think it was at CES, you had a vision for agentic, which was really fascinating to me, where you had this philosophy of yours, mine, ours. And I'd love to hear, and I think that speaks to what you just said. You don't get a second chance at this.
Yeah.
It's really important to have a very clear roadmap for how you're thinking philosophically and strategically about agentic in order for it to catch on ultimately and be something that I think is successful long term. So wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Thank you for that. I kind of begged him for that question because we're really excited about talking about agentic. Yeah, the yours, mine, and ours framework that we're in market with, it represents you being able to build and bring your own agents into the platform, us having our own agents that you can access, which are live now, where you can troubleshoot, you can anomaly detect, you can figure out what audiences work for you instead of like sifting through thousands and thousands of different audience segments, which we know are time consuming. And then, lastly, what can we build together? And I think those three things together, we're really thinking through how everyone is going to be working in the future and kind of the steps that it takes, like you're building, we're building, and then eventually we get to a place where we're building together and listening to our clients to understand what should we build, what makes sense, and then being able to, like I said, slowly iterate on it and get it right.
Are any of your clients, not to like take your job, I just have a quick
Do
follow-up
it.
question.
Please.
Are any of your clients doing anything that you think is worth mentioning that other people should know about?
We have an agent live now with Newton Research that is working, it's kind of wild, that is helping to generate audiences for our team and their team, and that it's without using our UI, which is really interesting. Our current clients in platform are using our troubleshooting tools, our audience tools immediately, like as soon as they launched, they were using them. So, and we're seeing significant time savings, a lot less errors, and more performance for better outcomes.
And they built it, so it's not going to be, it's going to be their
It's-
fault. If
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we'll have
It's always going to be
shared
their fault.
responsibility regardless in the industry.
Well, I also think, again, philosophically, not to get existential or overly philosophical, but I also think what you just
Let's
outlined.
actually do that.
Let's do it. No, I think it speaks to the fact that for AI to work across the industry, this isn't a go-it-alone sort of space. Like, you have to have partnerships. There has to be interoperability. You need to have like a spine in place in order for all of this to work. And collaboration is so important and critical in order to do that. And I think all of you, have thought about that philosophically, strategically in terms of building out your solutions, where partnership, and collaboration across the industry, I think is so important. I think about DV, media.net, everybody. I feel like on the stage that's been a core part of the business. Wondering if you have any thoughts on that.
I was gonna say, 100% it's a team sport, and it always is in our industry. Whenever there's something new, everyone in the ecosystem has to pony up. And so, kind of platform and supply side partners clearly lean into transparency, measurement providers, accountability and independence from the transaction, brands and agencies up-leveling their AI fluency, and of course on the regulatory body side, right? There's probably a lot of catch-up that we have to do in terms of standards. Like, this is new. What we're facing right now, especially the agents acting on behalf of human beings, is unprecedented. We don't fully understand its implications for traffic and audience and advertising. And I think norms and protocols and things like that and standards have a long way to come.
Sure.
And I wonder who's at the middle of that. Is that the IAB? Is that, like, who is that?
They're certainly
Right.
part of it, yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing I'll add is, we built this. We have a curation business called Select. We just launched something called Select IQ recently. And to your point earlier, partnerships are at the centerpiece of all of that. But we're basically allowing data providers who don't have inventory to bring their data to our platform. But what we built is that agentic layer over that, where they can literally just tell us what they want to buy, what their parameters are, all of those things, and we'll spit out a really well done media execution plan. And
Sure.
so that's been gaining a lot of steam since we launched it a couple of months ago. It's been fun.
How does the industry build, an effective infrastructure for this AI future while also balancing, responsibility, ethicality? Wondering what your thoughts might be on that.
I mean, may I? I'll just jump in. So we measure stuff that's happening online. That's part of it. And you would have had to have been in a coma for the last 18 months not to hear slop and agents and crawlers and scrapers and all of that. So there is a whole new crop of solution that is geared toward identifying stuff that has to do with AI on the supply side. And so we're identifying slop, which, when we talk about creativity driven through AI, it's amazing. Like my kids are artists now. Everyone is a maker. But there is a glut of synthetic content that's making its way online, and the worst flavor of that is when it is farmed and it's put into MFA sites and it is literally siphoning budget and providing no utility, and our advertisers want to know. And similarly, other types of crawlers or scrapers that identify, that don't identify, et cetera, they want to know. And so, of course, we have to augment our capabilities and provide that level of transparency.
But I think that begs the question. I mean, right? Premium is now more premium than it's ever been because of all of that, right? So when you think about the ComScore top 250, You know, there's that should come and does come at a premium if done right, because you don't have to worry about a lot of those things generally.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more focus on premium access to inventory to make you feel that you're in the right place.
Yeah.
You're working with partners, but like you're in a spot where you're not with some junk content, right? The slop of it, like so really being thoughtful about your supply and how you're accessing it, I think is going to be increasingly important.
Yeah, and I think the hope is that the fear of slop does not kind of take us back to like pre-programmatic days where supply was kind of transacted on a one-on-one basis for marketers. So it's definitely like another fear thing for marketers to be concerned about. But yeah.
Also, to your, what's interesting on the mobile side, I feel like a lot of people when they think about slop, they just think of like a website with AI-generated content. I also think there's something to be said about vibe coding, democratizing app building, and how, you know, in mobile advertising and in-app based advertising, it's increasingly important to make sure that, you know, you have quality controls in place, and wondering what your thoughts are about the mobile side.
Yeah, so I mean, just to start up by saying, like, before we send any supply to our marketers downstream, we have our own tools and services, and then it's also completely vetted by DoubleVerify's technology. So I think there's an element of like, you need to use the AI to police the AI.
For sure.
But yeah, I think, you know, there's probably something deeply troubling to like a career app developer that someone is just kind of using Claude to vibe code an app and then publishing that to the App Store. I think there's a place for that, and there are probably good use cases, but that is where the measurement capabilities are going to be even more important, like definitely I would say in the next 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. Speaking of existential, not to throw this one out there because it wasn't on my list of questions, but slop, what is even slop at this point? It's fascinating when you think about people loving like Fruit Love Island videos, or like to some degree I've seen like a slop aesthetic emerge that people actually seem to gravitate towards or find funny. You
Slop is your worst coworker's best email. Yeah. I mean, you can just tell. You can tell.
Just a mess.
We need DV to start pre-bid blocking some of these emails.
Yeah, so listen, we prevent it and we also create it because it's funny. Slop is like, as my boss likes to say, slop is like junk food. Like a little of it is like fun and gives you a sugar high, and a lot of it will rot your teeth in your campaign. But at its worst, we think of it as, you know, low cost, low quality inventory, often created at scale for a nefarious purpose, right? To siphon spend with very little real user utility.
Sure.
I think what you said there at the tail end of that is key. I mean, that slop really is.
Yeah.
'Cause it has the, you know, maybe we got there quicker, but it has the unintended consequence of also, I think, alienating an audience that would normally consume the content, because you see one signal that tells you that this did not come from
Like
the
a
unique
third arm.
the unique perspective of a human, like an M dash or a third arm, right? And so there is like, okay, what happened to this? And you kind of move on to the next thing.
And then you're just trusting nothing, right? You're on, like, now I can't trust anything that I'm looking at because I don't know what is slop and what is like this nefarious bullshit, truly, that what is real.
Yeah, and I think that also highlights the fact that we're all figuring this out to some degree. I mean, all of these things that we're talking about right now are fairly new, and so slop and the evolution of that and what it means conceptually is changing every day. Agentic and what that means fundamentally is changing, where we're going from maybe workflow automation to more sort of very meaningful use cases where you're getting more optimization, and so it feels like we're getting there. But we're all kind of figuring it out at the same time, which is okay. And I think sometimes there is this perception that like the ad industry, like we got to figure all of this stuff needs to be figured out right now. I don't see that as realistic, and I think we're, you know, gradually getting to where we need to be, given that the technology is moving so freaking fast. I mean, it's changing like today is the worst model we're gonna get from ChatGPT or, you know, Anthropic or whatever, and they're still pretty damn good, right? And so it's kind of fascinating to think about. But all right, we have 1 minute left. As we wrap up, just wondering if we could go around the room, if you will, and just share what you think the biggest opportunity is for AI in the advertising industry over the next couple of years?
I'm going to say two opportunities. One is AI as a new supply pool. And so, the whole phenomenon of conversational AI and what it's doing to traditional search and creating its own venue for true one-to-one marketing and advertising. We haven't seen something like that before, and huge implications for measurement, but this is brand new supply. And the second is AI as audience. And again, we've never seen something like that before, but agents will be acting on behalf of human beings and going out and researching and comparison shopping and transacting, and they won't constitute waste. We can advertise to them. So these are machines that can be persuaded by advertising in addition to reviews and doing their own site research. They will be masters of credibility and context, and we're gonna have to figure that out. And those ads and those brand sites won't look like they do today. Right? This isn't like shiny HTML and video, it's data, zeros and ones and TXT. Anyway, that's my piece.
For brands, I think I'm super pumped for something we refer to as like systems thinking for creative strategy, because I think like the demand for different creative treatments has really, there's a lot more demand than there is human capacity. And so I think using creative tool sets and using AI to really elevate what we can all do with creative, obviously making sure that it's not slop, that's what I'm most excited for.
My hope is better. My hope is better optimization and better outcomes for advertisers and brands. That's really my hope.
I think for us, the way we think about the future is going to be full interoperability, where your agents can work across platform, really connect all the dots in a way that we haven't been able to do before, and maybe you're not even in a UI anymore. You're just working with your agent.
Full interoperability, the name of my mixtape. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that.
Thank you.